Hi kids, welcome to Terry on Tuesday. You're very lucky this week, or unlucky, depending on how you look at it, that I was not going to do a video this week. I didn't have much prepared, so being a bank holiday Monday, I ran downstairs and I shot as much as I could while I was working on Marvin, and I cobbled it together. So it's a bit cobbly and there's some voiceover and some time lapse and etc, etc. But hopefully it'll just keep up with the weekly progress on Marvin, and you'll get to see where we're going, because got to keep those videos going every week, right kids? Anyway, on with the show. Alrighty then, so another week of not too bad progress. As you can see, I've got a lot of stuff around me, so let me tell you what I've been working on. Mainly the thighs, because they're falling behind. Currently the one leg is just joined together. It needs connecting like that and a lot of filling and stuff. And as you can see, I don't know if I told you about this last week, I'm going to use this spare piece of 3D printed material which was for the chest unit, and I'm going to stick that, use that as a joining plate for the inside of both legs. It's not accurate in the slightest, but it'll do. I think it'll be a nice change. I don't want to have too much aluminium on the legs because they're going to be very heavy. And talking of aluminium and legs, I will come on to an issue with the shins later on. Anyway, so this one is glued together. It's got that on the inside. It's got some, if you can just about see it, the epoxy all the way down the middle, and it's going to have an aluminium strip on the outside all the way down from top to bottom. There's no real sanding has been done on this. There's a bit of filler in the middle there, but this the print lines are quite fine actually. I'm surprised at how good they are, but I may give it a slight rub down. Again, I'm no good at sanding, especially PLA. I hate sanding anyway, but PLA just refuses to sand properly unless you've got a machine. I do have a machine, but I don't have the time really. I just want to get this sprayed, to be honest, so it'll probably have a number of coats of paint and filler before it's finally silver, which will minimise some of the print lines. But like I say, they're quite smooth. They're much better than the arms were. Anyway, let's make a feature of it, as they say. So that's the thighs. They're coming along. Once I get this one pretty much finished, I might be able to do a one leg suit up and actually have the kind of test to see if I can get a foot, a shin, an ankle and a thigh all together onto me and see how it goes. As I said before, on the inside of the leg, I'm probably going to cut this much away, like a scoop, to fit the inner upper leg, because these are some sharp edges. It's very hard to get this up into your unmentionables. Now, I did speak to David Lerner about it, and he didn't have any scoops cut out here because he's naturally svelte. I'm not, so I'm going to go for comfort and cut a bit out there. You probably won't be noticed because the skirt will be hanging over it, plus I'll have a black undersuit, etc, etc, like a stormtrooper. Head. Finally, I managed to get a countersinking drill bit to countersink the inner ones. So you can see some sellotape on these at the moment. That's just to keep the screws in. Basically, I managed to countersink all 6 screws. One's fallen off. Okay. Mind you, these on tight. But that means the whole thing is dead flush, so it'll swivel nicely. There's some nylon in between the Lazy Susan and the collar. There's some nylon washers on each screw, so it's only like a millimetre off, but it gives it plenty of free spin. Now, these are aluminium strips. My plan is, hopefully, to apply chrome tape, as you can see I've done with the forearms. The forearms need to have this sort of reflective chrome, so this is aluminium chrome tape. Where is the roll? Here is the roll. So essentially it's thick tin foil. Now it's a little bit, you know, because of the detail and the shape underneath, it's not the smoothest thing in the world, but I'm pretty sure if I can get it to go on the collar here, because this is, you know, sheet aluminium, it'll be dead smooth. If I can eliminate any air bubbles will have a nice, really nice chrome effect on there, which is what Marvin really needs, to be honest. I mean, I like it as it is. That chrome, or that brushed silver look matches the Lazy Susan, and it doesn't look out of place, you know, but really and truly, in some cases, I want to see how close I can get to the original. I have some of this tape on there. It's almost the right height as well, but you can see how it looks a lot more chromy. That's how it should be. Okay, and talking of the arms, now I've got all the details on all the plates and the rivets, etc, etc. The only thing left for me to do is to bolt the forearms to them, and then to hide the gap between the forearm and the upper arm, I'm going to sneeze. To hide the gap between the forearm and the upper arm, I've got some 4-inch elastic strip, which like fabric elastic, that's going to be glued into here and into the forearm, but it'll be on a stretch. So when I straighten my arm out, it'll be tight, and when I bend my arm in, it'll just contract and pull in, and there won't be no sort of floppy elastic there. It should just cover it nicely. It's a shame you can't get the stuff in silver, but there you go. Okay, so that's arms and stuff. I think while I've got the time, I'm going to see if we can get a piece of chrome tape onto this chap here. I'm not happy with it. It comes off. Again, this, I've said this last week, this is why a lot of my videos nowadays I don't do on camera, because when I'm talking, I'm distracted. And also, I know I don't have to upload this if it all goes wrong, and I just have to keep trying. Not long enough? It's probably not long enough now. Oh, yes it is. But when you know you're being watched, in a sense, you know, whether it's being recorded or not, when you feel like you're being scrutinized, you do sort of kind of go, well, you know, you feel a bit self-conscious, and that's when mistakes happen. So I'm literally peeling off some of the stuff here. There we go. See, that was stuck onto the arm there, so I just cut it off, and it's quite nice. What I need to do is, I think I'll start from the middle and work out, because these corners are slightly problematic. But anyway, I will do these. In the meantime, pop outside and watch me primering the front and back skirt sections, okay?
Here we see the lesser spotted, stupid, non-mask wearing spray painter doing some spraying in a confined space. Although he's outdoors, he doesn't wear a mask, and then he complains that he's got silver paint in his bogies, and he's coughing, sneezing and spluttering all day and all night. I would not recommend anyone do this, unless you're a seasoned nut job like me, who really doesn't care if he lives or dies. Anyway, yeah, so I put the primer on quite thinly because I'm beginning to run out here, and that looks fine. Let's go and get another piece. That'll do. There we go. This one's having some silver on it, so it's getting its first coat of silver. I may give it 2 coats of silver and then some gloss lacquer, because it needs to look metallic and fit in with the rest of the body, etc. But I'm quite happy the way it's turning out at the moment. I put it on thin layer at a time. You can still see the transparency of the plastic, but we're just about getting there now. Just a few final touch-ups, and then we'll let it dry before we put the lacquer on. There we go, a little bit more. Put it down, put it down. That's enough. Oop, nearly dropped it. There you go. Just around the edges. A little bit more. Sorted.
Alrighty, you join us at Worm's Eye View. where you can see I've managed to get a strip of chrome tape or aluminium tape onto the neck. Look how reflective it is, lovely. Pretty smooth. There are a couple of air bubbles that I can't really get out, but as you'll notice, the difference between plain aluminium and aluminium chrome tape. Now, as I was working along from one side to the other, it did ride up a little bit to about 1 millimeter. So I folded it over across the top. It's not terrible. It could have been a lot worse, but it's better. I think it looks nicer. I hope in the years to come that this doesn't start peeling off, otherwise I have to scrub it all off and start again. Or maybe just go back to metal. But I'm going to cut a piece now for the back. The mistake I was making the first time was that the tape itself is 50 millimeters wide or thick, and the metal strip is 45, so I need to cut 5 millimeters off, otherwise it won't get under the corners here. But other than that, if you go very slow and gently and rub down as smoothly as you can all the way, I think it'll look rather nice. The most important bit obviously is the front. That's the bit everyone sees, so I'll try my best to get the back to look as nice, and that will literally be the head done. All I'm waiting for is thumb screws, which 2 thumb screws, they'll be either side of the body, down the neck there, just to bolt him onto the body when we get suited up. So that will be the last bit on Marvin. Anyway, smooth, silvery. Right, now for the satisfying bit. Unmasking the aluminium. Oh, satisfying. Yeah, I know most people would have taken the aluminium strip off before painting, but I'm not most people, alright? I do things my way and make a complete pig's ear out of it, because that's who I am. That is how I roll. Yeah, aluminium could do with being buffed up a little bit, and then again so could I. But we'll worry about that in the afterlife. Anyway. Yeah, nice grey caps on. Oh, that's a loose one. Screws tight, caps loose. So I have to glue that. Still, looks good. Yeah, a couple of scuffs and stuff on there. Maybe try and buff them out. Turn it over. Nice and smooth, nice and smooth. Here we go again. This is the nicer one. Only a bit of scuffage down there, but that's all going to be hidden at the top of the shin, underneath the thigh. Okay, so that's one done. The other one's outside getting another coat of clear lacquer. I should have got really glossy lacquer. This is quite boring, but all the same. Completely missed the bin. All the same, we have one finished shinnage. Yeah, anyway. Cool, thought I'd show you that.
Yeah, so what I mentioned earlier that I wanted to talk to you about is, if you see the shins here, at the top and bottom, underneath the masking tape obviously, there are screw caps, little grey plastic screw caps. I've got to take them off the top. Not the bottom, but just the top ones. It's 2 at the top, either side, in and out, because they encroach on the space my legs are going to need to move. So they're actually, the shin pieces will be bumping into each other and bumping into the inside of the thighs, which gives me less space again. So it's all a very fine game of making sure that everything fits within it's the piece next to it. So obviously the thighs will go over the top of those shins down to a certain depth, a couple of inches, and those grey caps will get in the way and prevent me from bending my knees or whatever, you know, as much as I want. So I'm gonna take those caps off and just leave the screws in there. Make sure the screws are flat, countersunk or whatever, and do away with the grey caps. You live and you learn. There you go. Or in my case, you mess up completely and then you learn.
Okay, so I know that was all right. It was long enough, wasn't it? It's quite waffly, admittedly, but you've got an idea of what I'm getting up to. So yeah, that's it for me this week. Thanks for watching. Do the usual likey and subscribey if you can, if you will. And I will see you next week with the next step in Marvin's evolution, as it were. Take care now. Bye-bye then.